Before we get started, do me a favor and smash that like button. I'd appreciate it. Okay, what we're looking at here is the IL figures shown under the airdrop section on tbill.io, the staking page. And so I'm going to try to explain to you, to the best of my ability, what these numbers mean, for those of you that don't understand it. And I'm going to refer you to the IL guide document on medium.com that Gpool put out for reference purposes. But what we're looking at here is, let's start in the lower left here under realized IL. That is IL that basically is realized because I exited the LP at some point, and what was shown as current IL became realized IL. Now above that is current IL, and this is where I want to refer you to that IL guide and see if you can understand it. But basically that is the impermanent loss that you would experience if you were to exit the IL at this point. So it's telling me that I would suffer a impermanent loss of $6,900.10, which at the current price of T-Fuel would equate to 117,348 T-Fuel. But that's only, it's kind of like you buy a stock for $10, it drops to $5, so you're looking at a $5 loss, but you haven't really lost anything until you actually sell that stock. Well, that's the same thing with being in the LP. You haven't actually suffered the current IL figure unless you get out. Now, this figure over here on the right, what that figure is if you look at the sum of the two numbers on the left, being current IL plus realized IL, whatever those two add up to, this extra IL will always equal or exceed the sum of those other two. And basically that is your worst day captured. So that number will only go up, it'll never go down. So basically they're giving you an incentive to stay in the LP rather than pulling out because you're seeing some current IL and you're freaking out over it. They're basically telling you, hey, you're going to get this extra IL as long as you go ahead and stay in the liquidity pool. That's what that means. And then the lower right here where it says TVL plus IL, the TVL is your total value locked. The IL that it's referring to is this current IL figure over here. So they are saying that the two of those, your TVL plus that current IL, is the value that you have. So that's what those figures mean. Now let's talk about this extra IL. Notice under it, it says if you keep at least 90% of your TVL in the LP, then you're eligible for the extra IL. If you pull out, then your extra IL figure is going to go to zero. Okay? But there is a time factor. In other words, if I pull out right now, that's going to go to zero. But if I come back in with what I had when I pulled out, if I come back in within a certain period of time, and I think it's like 5 days or a week or something like that, it appears, and I'm guessing at that because I was actually out of the LP for 6 or 7 days before I came back in. But when I came back in, my extra IL figure reappeared. So, you know, if you pull out today and then you come back in tonight, for example, you haven't lost your extra IL. You have to basically remain out of the LP for some period of time in order for that, to lose it. And I'm guessing it's probably a week, as best I can tell. So, what the extra IL figure means is if the distribution or the next airdrop, which if you look down here, it says that it's November 18th. So on November 18th, if these figures are all what they are, I'm going to get an airdrop of G-Note, the governance token, for the amount shown there, which would basically, they take the price of G-Note at the time that they do the distribution and divide it into that extra IL figure, and that'll tell you how many G-Note that you should receive. So, if you're in the liquidity pool and you're watching the number of T-Fuel that you have in the liquidity pool dropping, you're going to be made whole by the airdrop when it occurs, because you're going to get the governance token, which you can swap it for T-bill and then swap the T-bill for T-Fuel if you want to do that, or you can just put the G-Note into the G-Note T-bill LP and stake it, and you'll start earning, that way. So I've got an amount of G-Note and some T-bill matched with it, and I am in the T-bill G-Note LP, and I'm earning. You earn the same thing in there as you do in the T-Fuel T-bill. It's if you've got a 2x multiplier like I do, you're earning basically 0.4 T-bill every 24 hours for every 100 T-bill that you've got. So, and that holds true no matter which of those two LPs that you choose to participate in. So hopefully this helped. Well, that's a wrap for this presentation, so cue the music. If you enjoyed the video, then hit that thumbs up for me, and I'll see you in the next video.